Red Hot Chili Peppers fans rejoice. It's the adventures of Rain Dance Maggie. My guest of the day is on the phone.
94.3
This is Good Morning Mumbai with HrishiKay.
It's our CEOs Working From Home series, a dynamic CEO on the telephone line right now. He is the Chief Executive Officer of IPRS, the Indian Performing Rights Society Limited. And over the course of the last few years, the IPRS has gone on from strength to strength, courtesy Rakesh Nigam. Rakesh, good morning. Thank you for talking to me, and I hope your friends, your family, your extended family are all safe during the COVID-19 lockdown.
Yeah, thanks, Hrishi. We are all safe and hope you all are safe and, practicing social distancing so that, we can all be safe and get India out of this COVID-19 situation.
Totally. Now, I want to talk about the success of the IPRS under your wonderful gaze. You joined the society in 2004, and at that time, the performing rights income was at the 9 crore mark. A couple of years ago, you had a watershed year, Rakesh, 46 crores in 2017-18. And obviously, that number will go on from strength to strength. Unfortunately, these are extraordinary circumstances right now. But how you achieved this kind of performing rights income, what are the measures that you put into place as a captain of the industry?
Another feather in the cap, not from me, it's for IPRS and all the creators who joined this, is that in 18-19, we were at 166 crores. So, from 17-18, 46, we jumped to 166 crores. This was all the efforts of, all the industry authors, composers, and the music companies who are also music publishers joined together hands and resolved most of their differences, So most of the industry leading music companies, barring some, are members of IPRS, and which helped us actually to approach the users, and which has seen a phenomenal growth. Even in 18, 19, 20, we were going great, but in the last 2 months there have been setbacks, and we will try and at least achieve 166 crores even this year. So this has happened due to cooperation from all other composers, users. We went back to users saying that all differences are sorted out, and the government has amended the Copyright Act some 6-7 years back in 2012, whereby they said that authors and composers will have undeniable right to royalty, equal share of royalty, which meant that even if the author composers can assign their copyrights to music companies or to film production companies, but they will retain their right to copyrights and right to royalty, which they will receive at 50% with them and with 50% with the music companies' publishers.
Fantastic. And what I've also noticed that you've done is that with the fresh election to the board and IPRS becoming a copyright society, you've had people of the ilk of Javed Akhtar Saab, who's now the chairman. So other than getting the music companies involved, individual authors, composers, and owner publishers have actually got on in a personal capacity and thought of the IPRS as a family.
Yeah, I said this whole initiative of getting IPRS back onto track has been under the helm or leadership of Mr. Javed Saab, who's our chairman. He single-handedly believed that an author's composers should have a right to royalty. It should not be on the basis of a goodwill, but it should be a contractual thing, or it should be written in the law. So he fought hard and got the law changed, not just as an author for himself, but for the industry and for the whole good of the authors and composers. So he got a landmark Copyright Act in the parliament, which is historical throughout the world, that authors and composers will not just have equal share of royalty, not just for performing rights, but even for mechanical rights, which is anything which you replicate or store that, and even synchronization right, which is called as when you create an ad film or you mix it along with another TV serial or anything. For everything, the author composer will be paid 50% for the publishing right. So that is how it happened. There were a lot of disputes amongst the author composers and the music companies, but Javed Saab, under his leadership, he got all these resolved for a working relationship, and he saw fresh elections to the board. So we have Saregama, we have got Sony Music, we have Universal, we have Aditya Music, we have got Ultra and others under the board, and he led it from front to change the act and get the music companies onto board and agree to them that they should share royalties, which will ultimately benefit both, not just the author composers, but will also benefit the music companies, because 50% of the royalties go to the music company or publishers. So his vision that we should do this helped us achieve, and the trust reposed by him in the society and in the executive helped us achieve those marks.
Yeah, big ups to Javed Saab and you for all of this. More with Rakesh Nigam, CEO of the Indian Performing Rights Society, up ahead on my CEOs Working From Home series. Let's do some Gwen Stefani and Sweet Escape. This is Radio 1 and I'm HrishiKay. Superstar Usher with Scream. Rakesh Nigam is one of the champions of performing rights in this country. The CEO of IPRS continues on my CEOs Working From Home series.
94.3
This is Good Morning Mumbai with HrishiKay.
Radio 1.
Now, listen, artists would always turn around and complain and compare ourselves to the West and say in Hollywood, the check always is in the mail. And now Indian artists, authors, composers can actually turn around and say that the check is in the mail or in the account. So that's wonderful. Now, these are, like I said, Rakesh, very extraordinary times and they call for extraordinary measures. I'm very happy to note that in the current situation of COVID-19, you've done some very, very interesting innovations. You've declared an emergency relief package. You've started a creative shala. So the work from home scenario, your COVID-19 activities, elaborate on all of that for our listeners, please.
When this COVID-19 situation struck in India, a lot of the authors, composers may be less fortunate, that they may not be as fortunate as the bigger ones or who are more successful, but they continue to be authors and composers which we recognized. And we thought that, in these difficult times, because work would be difficult to come by, so we thought that as an organization led by Javed Saab, that he told us that, he made the board to see the suggestion that, we should help out the author composers by at least trying and, taking care of their 3 weeks of, rations and their groceries, so that, even if they don't have work or something, at least they will be happy that they should have food grains and groceries in their home, so that, the kitchen keeps running for at least 3 weeks. And there is a thought process that, in case this extend further, we might look at, further relief, but, that's still a long way. So, overall, we have allocated around 3 crores towards all of this to more than 3,200 authors and composers. The second thing what we thought is, in these trying times, we should keep the community engaged and the users and all the listeners and all the other people follow on social media that, how things happen around in the creative field. So we thought that, we create an IPRS Pathshala, which was led by Mayur Puri. It was his idea that, we should keep engaging authors and composers and all other users also to know more about the music industry. So, it is being led by Mayur Puri. He has been conducting this, and furthermore, author composers have also expressed their interest that, we would like to come and, conduct these kind of classes or make videos around interviews and other things, so that which will keep engaged and people would know about how the music industry functions, share their experiences and keep the motivation levels very high, so that, these are very difficult times, and the best thing is that we should keep our motivation levels very high and keep them engaged on all of this. We thought about IPRS Pathshala. We have also thought, within the HR team, within our organization also, that, up till now, we were never used to working from home. So this is the first time where it has been actually a shift completely, that, more than 80%, 90%, probably now 100% of the people are working from home. So, what are the do's and don'ts for working from home, how to keep yourself motivated during these testing times, how to do the work, and what are the do's and don'ts, all of that.
Excellent. We shall continue with this very insightful discussion with Rakesh Nigam, CEO, Indian Performing Rights Society. But first, sample some U2 and Beautiful Day. I'm HrishiKay and this is my CEOs Working From Home series, only on 94.3 Radio 1. Dua Lipa. To me, she's the most sensational artist on the planet right now. That's the worldwide hit Don't Start Now. On my CEOs Working From Home series, a business leader who's at the forefront of innovation in the performing rights for artists front, CEO of IPRS, Rakesh Nigam. More chat.
94.3
This is Good Morning Mumbai with HrishiKay.
Radio 1.
Now, I want to know if there are any CEOs or captains of the industry. Somebody like yourself who's a chartered accountant and then also worked in the music business for a considerable period of time, with Saregama and Universal and now IPRS, would obviously have a lot to choose from because you could identify with traditional CEOs as well as CEOs in the music business. So, captains of the industry, Rakesh, who have really inspired you, could be from abroad, could be from India. Please talk to us about that.
See, there are two people those who have actually deeply touched the thought process and everything. One is Aziz Premji from India. The kind of work he does, and not just money making, you need to inspire our organization and also give it back to the humanity also. I'm touched by his, efforts to whatever he earns, a substantial portion of that is given back to the society. And the second person is, whom I, earlier you should think that it's an organization or an individual who's only trying to make money out of all of this, is Microsoft Bill Gates. And I used to thought, Microsoft is only, taking back money from the people by selling them products and all of that. But when I read his thought process and the way Bill Gates functions and the way he conducts himself, that he's donated most of his money towards charity. So, I got very touched by this, that, these are the people, those who not just earn money and create wealth, but they are people, those who actually want to give it back to the society for the enhancement of the society also. So, when I took up this role in IPRS, what gave me the greatest satisfaction is that, when we reach out with the smaller check or some kind of an help to the deserving and the author composers, those who are past their limelight and they were great people in their times, but right now they are no longer creative and no longer having the same kind of work, when we give royalties to them or to the lesser author composers, smaller author composers, who may be struggling. But when these people get those share of royalties or medical aid, what IPRS sometimes gives them, that kind of blessings with this organization or an individual gives, it gives you great sense of satisfaction that, you're doing something, not just to earn money, but you're trying to give back to the society. And every country throughout the world actually protects its creators, because that is the cultural value which you show toward the world, that, this is what India is all about and this is a part of our culture. So we thought that what is the best to get blessings or some kind of a support to the authors and composers, which kept me motivated even during testing times, what IPRS went through.
Excellent. Now, I'd like to know about your personal daily timetable. Now that work from home is a reality, how do you approach it? Do you just go with the flow, Rakesh, or do you set yourself a time saying this is the time for video calls? Because at the end of the day, in a period like this, we also have to contribute towards homework, work around the house, as a lot of our domestic helps are not coming in. So your daily timetable, work from home.
There is no specific timetable, but as it flows through, because, we try and set up video calls or audio calls with some of the clients. So, it may not happen on a daily basis, but, every second day there is a call within the clients. And then after that, we have calls within our internal teams and we keep talking to other people to motivate it. So that, what we are doing in these testing times is also, we're trying and close deals to some of the major users so that, monies can flow in the future. And also whatever monies we have collected in past are being processed from people from starting from home, so that, once all of this happens, we'll try and remit all the monies out to the authors and composers and the publishers, so that, in the testing times, they would require these monies. We'll flush them out. And secondly, yes, rightly, when you're sitting at home, we have to actually be part of the help, be one of the smaller people, those who help out in the work, is because ultimately it is led by your better half from your homemaker. But, I try and help wherever I can, by watering trees, being some amount of ironing, trying and run some errands, so that, we need to take the workload from us. We all sit here at home, but, for the better halves, the wives, the homemakers, for them, it is a testing time, is because, they have to work double because the maids are not there, cooking is at the same level, and on top of that, everyone, the kids and the husbands are all sitting at home. So, I do participate in some amount of helping them to try and help in vegetables, getting vegetables or milk or, running some errands.
Excellent. The positive spirit of these CEOs working from home evident there in Rakesh Nigam's case. A last leg of conversation up ahead with the CEO of the Indian Performing Rights Society. You don't want to miss it. Stay with us as I play you the script and superheroes. Train and Drops of Jupiter, just amping it up on my CEOs Working From Home series. Last leg of an eventful conversation with Rakesh Nigam, the CEO of IPRS.
94.3
This is Good Morning Mumbai with HrishiKay.
Radio 1.
Would you tell me some books that you've read that have really influenced you, whether it's an audio book or whether it's a book in print? Are you a reader at all?
I'm not a reader at all. I do read, but I probably read more of newspapers and business articles, not something, which can be fiction or non-fiction. I'm more of a movie guy, I love science fiction, I love Marvel, DC. So, I'll try and see both movies or serials of that.
Now, you've had an exciting schooling, college. Like I said briefly, you were a CA, you schooled from Andrews, and then you went to Dhanukar College of Commerce and Economics. Any memories of your college days that were really, really amazing? Or during your college days, any music concerts or gigs that you enjoyed, or even gigs that you've enjoyed more recently?
In the college days, I think so we were talking about some 25, 30 years back, we were talking about early 80s. Gigs were not so big, and, you had those local orchestras. So, you used to go and enjoy orchestras. But, we never had any major shows during the college times. Yes, we used to have college festivals where we used to participate, but they were not as big as today. What has happened, today's festivals and everything has taken itself to a very different level. So what we used to have was smaller orchestras, because I still love, old Hindi music, because soulful music and some of the even international music, which are the olds, where the lyrics are very overpowering and very soft music I love. So, I used to go to do that. Today, the last which when I saw was an Arijit Singh show. Mind blowing, I love his voice, Arijit Singh live.
Fantastic. I completely agree with you. The Arijit live experience is absolutely stellar. We're a long way from traveling anywhere, but part of the beauty about sitting at home during the lockdown and working is that you can imagine a future full of travel. A travel destination that you have been to, Rakesh, and really enjoyed. When you went there, you said, oh, I could live here.
There are 2 or 3 places which I enjoyed the most. One of them is in India, is Ladakh. When we went to Numbra Valley and stayed in the tents, it takes you out of the world experience. There is no light, so calm, peaceful. It's just, experience which you cannot share, you cannot describe, but just have to feel it. The silence, the kind of air, the kind of atmosphere. The other which I enjoyed, one is, there's something called as walk in the woods under the Niagara Falls. So, where, they have built up a walkway beside the Niagara Falls. You have to walk through it, and, you have the water gushing in and the mist from the falls coming and dashing you. That is a fantastic experience if you walk through that Cave of the Winds, which is called as. Second one is, one we stayed in New York on Times Square. Just sit in Times Square and enjoy probably after 8:39 and up to 12:01. The kind of energy is mind blowing. You could just sit there for hours together doing nothing but seeing the energy of that place.
Rakesh, my last question to you is the message that you want to send out to all artists, all performers who are working hard for their livelihood and their relationship with IPRS. Often, young artists, new artists are very, very vulnerable and they're not confident enough to stand up for their rights. What is your message as CEO of IPRS?
We tell them to please, most of the budding artists, authors, composers, please join IPRS, whereby we can help you to understand what your rights are all about. And once you join IPRS, you register your works, we can help you monetize those works and collect royalties for you. We can even guide you, how monetization needs to be done. In case today, if you see Hrishikesh, most of the creators are themselves people those who have created the work and they want them to be deployed on various platforms. So, we can help them to reach out to the people, those who help them to create their work. We can help them connect with YouTube, how to create their channels so that, they can monetize their revenues. And secondly, where we can help them to monetize their rights, to understand what copyright is all about and how to protect them.
Excellent. Before you go, can you give out our website where people can read more about IPRS, please?
It's www.iprs.org, and we have also our Twitter handle @IPRS Music.
Wonderful. That's Rakesh Nigam, CEO, Indian Performing Rights Society Limited, on my CEOs working from home. Rakesh, absolute pleasure talking to you. All the best and cheers.
Same here, Hrishikesh, thanks, and it was excellent talking to you, and all the best to Radio 1 for playing some great music which will keep people entertained during these testing times. And I hope that we will all come out of this situation, and let us all practice social distancing and all of us be safe, so that as a country we can emerge successful in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Fantastic. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Enrique Iglesias, Not in Love, only on 94.3 Radio 1 One World, your station. My name is Hrishi K.